I signed for them after the Euros, and after my first day's training, I was driving home. I was actually thinking, regretting it. What have I done? Like I walked into a circus. It's amazing, isn't it?
The former King of Mayo, Nathan Murphy, joins us. Nathan, good morning to you.
Good morning.
We have a deal or no deal post-Barcelona car crash special for you.
Wonderful.
Starting with Ronald Koeman, right?
Mm.
Was he misunderstood during his time in England, and is he actually the right man for the Barcelona job?
Maybe they're not really the same question in that, how was he misunderstood? In that people just think of his last few months at Everton as the sort of catastrophe that they were, and forget about the previous 3 seasons when he brought Southampton to a record finish, 7th and 6th, and when he took over at Southampton, they had that summer just lost Mauricio Pochettino. They had lost Lovren, Lallana, Lambert, Luke Shaw went to Manchester United, Callum Chambers went to Arsenal, and still he came in and managed to make them better. For those couple of seasons, Southampton were absolutely brilliant to watch, and everybody raves about the job Mauricio Pochettino did. Ronald Koeman brought them to a whole other level. His first season at Everton was good, it was solid, it was 7th, which Everton would take right now. But then obviously they sold Romelu Lukaku, they never signed a striker, they went in this mad, ridiculous spending spree under Steve Walsh of bringing back Wayne Rooney on huge money, signing Davy Klaassen and Morgan Schneiderlin and all these number 10s, but nobody to actually put the ball in the back of the net. So, yeah, it finished badly, but he showed, certainly at that stage, and earlier in his career when he was winning titles with Ajax and with PSV, that he's a very good manager. But this Barcelona job right now is just a whole other ballgame. Like, what are they looking for in a manager? Is it somebody who goes in there and that when he walks in this week and he sits down with Lionel Messi, that Lionel Messi respects the Barcelona legend that is Ronald Koeman? Or is Lionel Messi going, well, actually, your last club job was Everton. I want the best manager in the world here. We should be going after the best. Who is the best available free manager in the world right now? We should be going after him. We should be going to Mauricio Pochettino saying, I don't care what happened with Espanyol. I don't care about your history. We want you here right now.
Is he the best available free manager in the world?
Pochettino?
Yeah. I mean,
he'll be right in the mix.
But does Messi care about the difference between Spurs and Everton?
I think Mauricio Pochettino got to a Champions League final just over 12 months ago, at the very least.
Yeah. Did they lose 13 games, or what was the stat that they lost, that the Spurs team lost?
Yeah, but they still got to a Champions League final.
Yeah, I mean, look,
he still brought Tottenham to a higher level than they've ever been at in recent decades.
Fair enough.
So I think his stock is still high. But again, that's what I'm saying. Who knows what they're looking for in this Barcelona job? Is it somebody who can manage above them and can somehow get the board together and making the right decisions?
They're looking for somebody who'll be easy to sack next year, or somebody who will be a nice stopgap for a while until Xavi's available next year.
Can I just, exactly, this is, I think it's career suicide to take this job now when you actually have a reasonable chance of winning the Euros. Like, unless he thinks the Euros isn't going to happen next year. But surely the Dutch side and the Dutch job is a better job than the Barcelona job, where there's going to be a new president in who has already said he wants Xavi in. So unless you're doing it because you know that you're going to work for 1 year and get paid for 2, I can see the benefits of that. And then maybe you've got some deal worked out with the Dutch that they put an under-21 coach in and you come back and take them for, I don't know. Like,
Is Arsene Wenger not throwing his name into
well,
the
let me get into my next bit here. Arsene Wenger,
job for the next year?
Arsene Wenger is reported to have approached the Dutch FA to offer his services if Koeman is on the way out. That's according to the Mirror today. What do we make of this tactic, my script asks, of touting yourself for a not yet vacant role with a major organisation? Should we applaud his proactive approach to the situation? I would like to make myself available to, host the Oscars this year. I'm not sure if there's going to be one. But just so you know, Mr. Academy Awards person who decides, I'm available.
Well, it's a not vacant role by 1 day when he made it known. It does feel a bit sad and pathetic, though, that Arsene Wenger at this stage of his life needs to be touting himself around like that. Maybe it wasn't exactly that way. Maybe his agent has been sitting at home for the last 2 years, 3 years, not making any money, is saying, you need to get it back out there and start working, so I'm going to put your name into the mix for a nice, easy gig where you only have a couple of games every month. And, as you say, you've got a chance to enhance your reputation because the Dutch will probably go in as, second favourites for the Euros behind France. I think Ronald Koeman looks at this with his history with Barcelona as a bigger job. He's obviously not going to go into this thinking it's a 1 year gig. All right, maybe he's a bit naive not thinking that. he also may have had conversations of, actually, yeah, Messi's thrown his toys out of the pram here, but there's no way in hell he's leaving. There's no way in hell he's leaving. And there are some quality young players coming through. We're going to sell a couple of players. We might get rid of Griezmann. We might get rid of Suarez. There might be some money to bring a couple of other players in. And this is your chance to go and bring Barcelona back. You, the Barcelona legend, the man who provided that legendary moment at Wembley. Maybe you're the guy who can bring us back to where we want to be in Europe. And the thought of that is just too much. And also, I think you're right. There's probably a part of him that's thinking, like, are the Euros going to take place next year? Are the internationals in the next couple of months going to take place? So is he going to be sitting around doing nothing at a time when he's getting this once-in-a-lifetime offer to manage Barcelona? So you can understand why they've gone from, and again, I think people look at, and I was at Goodison Park the day they were beaten 5-2 by Arsenal in his last game, and it was an absolute shambles. But I also saw a lot of that Southampton team. And like, the one thing I do remember was a match against Liverpool where he dropped Sadio Mane because Mane turned up 2 minutes late, I think it was, for the bus to the game. So for this huge match. So there's obviously a bit of a disciplinarian in there as well.
But that doesn't make any sense. You can't drop Sadio Mane for the game against Liverpool. That's stupid. That's the idiotic form of disciplinarianism from the 1960s. That was absolutely meaningless.
Look, the question is, was that Southampton team a brilliant team because they had Virgil van Dijk, Sadio Mane, Toby Alderweireld for a season, Victor Wanyama, Shane Long had his best ever Premier League season. Did all that just come together by luck, or was it because Ronald Koeman was the right man to get the very best and to bring Virgil van Dijk to another level, and to bring Sadio Mane to another level?
Maybe Virgil van Dijk thought he was an absolute legend because, you know, he would have grown up watching the 88 team. Last question on this. Will Messi actually leave Barcelona? I want a ranking out of 10, 10 being yes, he's gone.
3.
So you think he's staying?
I think he's staying. God, I hope he's staying. I'd love to see him at Manchester City, just out of pure selfish, going to watch Messi sometime possibly in 2021 if flights ever resume. Just for purely selfish.
You can fly. You just have to stay there for a fortnight and then stay here for a fortnight and not talk.
The thoughts of Messi going to Paris Saint-Germain to end his career. He was still, what did he score, over 30 goals last season? Like, he still got it. Again, one unbelievably bad capitulation for Barcelona that had been coming. And Messi was poor. But like, wherever he goes, I'm reading some articles today that, you know, could he make Manchester City better? Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure if Leo Messi strolling around is what that team needs to get them over the line in a Champions League quarter-final. I mean, obviously, like, last season they were one of the best teams in world football. They were an absolute machine. This year the wheels came off a little bit, but their problem is defensive, not attacking. They've got enough attackers. I mean, maybe they have a
lot of attackers, but he never. And look, you can throw back any amount of statistics in terms of how many goals they have scored, but Gabriel Jesus is never going to be Sergio Aguero. He never could fully decide on who the player on the right-hand side was. So Sterling on the left. Wasn't Riyad Mahrez, gave him a run of games, in and out of the side. Bernardo Silva played there at times. He played Kevin De Bruyne there, Phil Foden. So I think there's a spot there for Lionel Messi, if he wants it, on the right of that front three for Manchester City.
There absolutely is. And he could play with Mbappe and Neymar, and it would just be how it was with Suarez and Neymar, and everybody would be like, well, that's pretty good too. So there's loads of places he could end up. 3 out of 10, says Nathan. No, he's not going anywhere. Now, let's move on to the other half of the greatest duo in football history. Cristiano Ronaldo, 35, no longer considered to be non-transferable by Juventus. He could be sold for as little as 54 million, with Paris Saint-Germain leading the race to sign him. How legitimate on a scale of 1 to 10 is the prospect of Ronaldo moving, and which Premier League club should throw their hat into the ring to sign him? Aston Villa is the correct answer. Go for it.
This feels like it's an 8 out of 10 heading towards a 9 out of 10. 55 million. What sort of wage is he going to be on? Probably 300-400 grand a week at least, with everything else all thrown in. Yeah, Paris Saint-Germain, he could be on any amount of money. But in terms of what a club would get back for jersey sales and merchandise, and Ronaldo being arguably the most famous sports person in the world right now, from a financial point of view, it makes total sense. And from Paris Saint-Germain's point of view, from a goal-scoring point of view, again, 31 goals in Serie A this season. He's going to score at least that in Ligue 1 next season if he goes there. And they have a spot, as you say, if either side of Neymar and Mbappe. All right, Icardi, he's a lesser version of the now Ronaldo, who doesn't maybe contribute a huge amount outside the area except his goals. That's very much Icardi's, but like Ronaldo's a massive step up. So like if Juventus want rid, if they want to make some space financially, you would imagine Paris Saint-Germain is the place to go. You win an easy league title yet again, and you're contenders for the Champions League. Of course, it's a slightly different scenario if you're going to Paris Saint-Germain and they've just won the Champions League. Suddenly there's a bit of expectation.
Is it not a situation where people go to Paris Saint-Germain now and it'll just be kind of like a disgraceful way to pad their statistics late in their career? It's like being Pele, but just for a couple of years, like the way his statistics are obviously way overblown because, all the goals came for Santos. Like, this is what the Paris Saint-Germain element of everybody's career is going to be. Just this sort of asterisk that it's like, yeah, you scored 500 career goals, but 50 of those, 100 of those came in a terrible, terrible league.
Why? Because it's a farmers' league.
Except
the team that finished 7th is in the Champions League semi-final.
Knockout football, anybody can reach that's why.
I agree.
Yeah. So let's move on. Quick fire. Sticking with the Galacticos, the Daily Mail reports that as part of the post-Bayern meltdown shake-up at Barcelona, we'll see 55 million offer plus bring Griezmann. Sorry. Hang on. Okay. This is the Daily Mail, starting again. Griezmann plus 55 million is what we're offering you for Neymar. How does that sound? If you're Barcelona, if you're Paris Saint-Germain,
if you're Barcelona, you sound like that's quite a deal you're getting there. If you're Paris Saint-Germain, you're thinking Neymar's even in current market worth what? Minimum 150, 200.
222 is what they paid, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, therefore, has he declined as a footballer over the last couple of years? What we saw the last night, not really. Griezmann is what, 4 years older than him? So you're suddenly trying to value Griezmann at 100, 150 million? I don't think so. So this is for Paris Saint-Germain. This is not a good deal.
But he's French. You're paying a Paris tax.
It brings Griezmann back home, and
no chance. Paris Saint-Germain have finally got some return on this. They seem to have got some kind of relationship with him where there's a bit of tough love going on, and he's just entering his peak, and he's now about to become the only Galactico who's like at their absolute peak alongside Kylian Mbappe. So if you're Paris Saint-Germain, you do absolutely everything you can in your power to keep him right now. Isn't that the case?
100%. Right. Like, if you want to be that team of, like, they're not a feeder club. I'm sure they don't want to be a feeder club, even with all the speculation around Mbappe that, we bring players in for a couple of years and then we gift them back to Barcelona and Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Like, that ain't the project.
But also the money thing has changed. The game done changed, and I don't know if Madrid and Barcelona are going to be splashing the cash at the same Galactico level that they have been in recent years post-pandemic.
I don't know if you've looked at the price of oil either, Ger.
Not doing so good, is it?
No.
TalkSport say Luis Suarez could return to Ajax. We also previously brought reports that he's being linked with an MLS move as well. Is the 33-year-old, and specifically his reduced mobility, an underrated factor in Barcelona's demise? Should he still be at the Camp Nou next season?
You'd imagine he's one of the first that might be on the way out. But you can't really get rid of Suarez. Can you get rid of Suarez and Griezmann? Yeah, it is disappointing. It's one of the most disappointing factors of watching Barcelona. I know he scored the last night. Is the decline of Luis Suarez over the last sort of 6-12 months from the player that was there the first few years and also the player in the last couple of seasons at Liverpool, who was probably the third best player in the world for a couple of years. Everything about him is just off. Like, not scoring as many goals, not making as much an impact, still rolling around, but without contributing in other ways. The sort of fight, the sort of drive that he would have brought to a team, and even if Messi wasn't providing that he would provide it. That wasn't there the last night. So, Ajax would be a nice end, complete the circle, go back again, win a title, probably score a lot of goals. Are Ajax going to pay him as much as an MLS team?
Probably not, and the weather's nowhere near as good, and also, you could live in Miami and live in a Spanish-speaking culture and have an amazing time, great food, brilliant weather, be an absolute superstar for 4 seasons. Which of these two things are you going to do? Should Barcelona sign Inter's Lautaro Martinez scored twice last night. He's the sort of player you'd imagine they'd be in the mix for. But again, Inter look to be building something. However, if Antonio Conte goes, do all the players look around and think, well, is this going to last? They've got a lot of quality young players. They've got a lot of players that, if they want to cash in. I know Milan Skriniar's not playing at the moment, but centre-back constantly linked with clubs in the Premier League that they could get 40, 50 million for. And Lautaro Martinez, again, is a
40, 50 million player. Like, they should sign these players, but what are they going to do when they get there? How are they going to be treated? Like, everyone thought they should sign Ousmane Dembele. He's done little or nothing since he arrived. I know he's had injury problems, but like, it just feels that the weight of the club.
Yeah.
The weight of the club is too much.
The weight of
pretty
Messi
much
is
everybody
too much
right now.
Yeah, the weight of Messi is too much. Right, very quickly. Will Thiago come to Anfield? 27.2 million is apparently the price, and Liverpool are not willing to pay it. Is that a fair price? What will Thiago bring to Klopp's side? What's going to happen here? Give me an out of 10 chances of him playing for Liverpool next season.
9, I would say. Yeah,
Okay.
I understand, and Liverpool don't want to spend a huge amount of money, but 27.5 million is not a huge amount of money. And this thing of you can wait till January and get him for free next summer, like, you can't wait a year. You get him now. You look at the quality he showed the last night. Fabinho can go in. Suddenly you can release Fabinho to play at centre back if needs be as the fourth choice centre back.
Yeah,
and he's just pure quality. Like he adds to that group massively.
Straight away.
You get the deal done.
And that midfield trio is going to end up playing 60 games next year. So you need 4 into 3 all of a sudden, or 5 into 3 suddenly makes it an acceptable number of minutes of high intensity matches for this. Let's play this video for you. McGrain says, I'd love to see Roy Keane as Manchester United assistant manager. He would demand high standards that are not there currently. Complete lack of leaders throughout the team. Lukaku wouldn't start in the League of Ireland at the moment. I'd say Lukaku could get a game in the League of Ireland. Probably would.
Just about. Lukaku's
Athlone would be able to use him.
Lukaku is one of the best strikers in the Premier League. He's one of the best strikers in the world.
He's not. He is not one of the best strikers. He's absolutely not one of them. No way. He is. Vastly overrated.
He is
flat track bully.
He is vastly underperforming.
And
he is not anywhere near his level at the moment.
Well, he's definitely not one of the best strikers in the world.
He would make the top 10.
You're going to die on that hill, are you?
Probably.
Lukaku's in the top 10 strikers in the world.
Give me 10 better number 9s.
I don't know if he's like top 10 strikers in the Premier League. Owen?
A broken clock is right twice today, and this clock is a broken grandfather clock, and it is chiming hard this morning. 2018, middle of the Jose Mourinho downturn at Manchester United. People giving me stick for saying Lukaku is vastly underperforming rather than just being a terrible, terrible striker, which everybody seemed to tar him as. 33 goals this season, his best ever year. He has returned to form. He has assumed his position that I knew all along was coming, that he is truly one of the best sharpshooters in world football.
Scoring the 4th and 5th in a 4 and 5-0 win, that's absolute. When the money is being earned, that's where Romelu Lukaku is. Flat track bully.
Where did he score the rest of his 31 goals this season? In what positions were they scored?
3rd and 4th. Look, I just think, I actually do think Lukaku's a little bit overrated, to be honest, still.
It depends what you want from him. What do you want from him? Like, if you're looking for an all-round contributor, maybe he's not going to provide that. But if you're just looking for someone to put the ball in the back of the net, when you create a lot of chances, as Inter Milan do, there's very few better.
Should he be at Old Trafford?
You'd love to see him, how he would have done in this current Manchester United attacking setup with a Bruno Fernandes, Paul Pogba returning to a bit of form, exciting wingers, creating a huge amount of chances that they're not actually taking enough of. Then you may well have seen the Lukaku that scored 25 goals in a Premier League season. But like last season, he was, some games he's been asked to hold the ball up, which he was really struggling to do. He was playing 30, 40 yards from goal. They weren't getting the ball into the area quick enough. So, possibly.
Like the whole narrative around Lukaku was clearly ludicrous. Like, there was Manchester United fans saying that this guy doesn't even have a first touch. As if Manchester United had gone out and spent money on a guy that doesn't have a first touch. As if a footballer can make it in the world at any level of professional football without having a first touch. There was this ludicrous hyperbole around Lukaku as if he was this terrible lump of a man up front who had no talent whatsoever, which just clearly was not the case. He was vastly underperforming, and it was plain for everybody to see that Jose Mourinho had sucked the talent out of this guy to such an extent where he had lost all of his confidence. He was in pretty not great shape, actually. In fairness, that could be down to Lukaku himself. But there were a multitude of reasons here that weren't just down to his talent. And I just felt that everybody was like straight away saying, this guy is not good. This guy is just a terrible footballer. And as I say, I think a lot of people who said that would have got that badly wrong on him. Could he still play for Manchester United? I think, yes, he probably could. He definitely couldn't play for Liverpool or Manchester City. So, like, the system is
top 10 strikers in the world, though, Eoin?
Yes, 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
100%
Well,
top
what
10
is a
number 9.
striker? Look at Fantasy Premier League this year, where Aubameyang and Mane and Salah are all down as midfielders for some bizarre reason. So unless you're because they go and they contribute a little bit more in different positions, they're not that straight up number 9. I think as a straight up number 9, there's no question Romelu Lukaku's in the top 10 of them in the world. If you look at Paris Saint-Germain tonight, we'll start with Mauro Icardi in that position. And Icardi's a brilliant goal scorer. Lukaku is a step above him.
OTB AM is live in association with Gillette. Good morning. Start with Gillette giving you the confidence to tackle the day ahead. Manchester United are being linked with the move for Juventus' 29-year-old winger Douglas Costa. Nathan, is Jadon Sancho going to... this is old bait and switch. Is Jadon Sancho going to join Manchester United? And who should they sign if Sancho is actually staying at Dortmund?
Well, I saw those quotes again this morning from Borussia Dortmund, sort of like, look, this is a circus in England. This is the way they go on, but we're quite calm in the situation here. He's going to stay. So move on. They clearly feel that they need another option amongst that front four. So they'll obviously go after somebody, I presume, but they need a centre half. And I also think they need at least one central midfielder. I'm not convinced Matic, while he had a good end to the season, is the answer alongside Pogba and Fernandes. Didn't need a left back, probably. So they've 3 or 4 positions they need to strengthen before adding an extra attacking option. But if they're going to sell Lingard, Odion Gallo isn't really going to get a huge amount of game time you'd expect next season. But, like Liverpool and all the rest of them, they're going to play twice a week, every week. So he'll get minutes off the bench. So maybe Jack Grealish has gone very quiet, obviously. Maybe as this rolls on, you start thinking again, Jack Grealish does provide that option that he can play in 3 or 4 different positions. Yeah. So, I think if you're looking at the way United set up, and I know you want to talk about Gallo and his role, the backup for Anthony Martial is probably Marcus Rashford. So Rashford moves into the centre if Martial isn't there. So who then replaces Rashford out on the left-hand side? And maybe that's where Jack Grealish steps in.
Yeah, and suddenly he actually ends up playing 40 games next season without a nailed-on starting role in the absolute massive games. Very quickly, Arsenal are expected to announce Aubameyang's massive new 3-year deal. The future of Lacazette remains unclear amid interest from clubs including Juventus, which might be a replacement for Cristiano. Do you agree with Eoin's theory, Nathan, that Arsenal need to keep Lacazette by any means necessary?
Only because you wouldn't back Arsenal to be able to replace him. Who are the other options right now? Eddie Nketiah to play in that more central role? They're paying him a huge wage. They're probably going to get a substantial fee for him. And he doesn't play that often. Big games, quite often, he's not on the pitch. So clearly Arteta doesn't fully trust him or doesn't really fancy him. So what is the point in keeping him there then, in that case? Do you just give Eddie Nketiah enough games so that he gets to the level you want him to get to? Otherwise, Lacazette is not in the top 10 of the best strikers in the world. It's the only reason you are desperate to keep him on, because Arsenal don't have the financial muscle at the moment to go and actually buy somebody any better.
No, I actually think that he has been really, really good. Let's not forget that he has played 30 times for Arsenal in the previous Premier League season. I know that half a dozen of them came off the bench, but it's not like he's totally been out in the cold. He has fulfilled a role in Mikel Arteta's style of play. He isn't a goal scorer. He won't score you goals, but he will drop deep. He will help out in the midfield that is suffering at the moment, that is lacking the types of passers that you would expect of a top 4 team at the very least. This is the guy who will drop back, help you out with possession, help bring in your left and right forwards, who have been, Aubameyang as one of them for the season so far, a brilliant enabler for that sort of striker on the left of a front 3. That number 9 is a very bespoke role whenever Lacazette is in that position. I don't think Nketiah can fulfill that whatsoever. This is a sort of a Lukaku situation, I think, where it's kind of another hill that I've identified and kind of want to die on here. But I genuinely think Lacazette would be a terrible loss to Arsenal. I think every game he has played, tactically, he has been vital to how Arsenal approach the game and attack.
OK. Shane Duffy to Celtic, Nathan. Is it going to happen?
I think a lot maybe depends on what happens with Celtic in these Champions League qualifiers and how much money they have. And listen, Ger, I don't want to... Thursday night, Neil Lennon, live and exclusive. We'll let you know then.
A good move?
We'll just ask the man himself. If it's an option of Celtic, West Brom, West Ham, you'd like to see him probably go to West Ham, who are the most likely to stay in the Premier League next season. If Celtic are in the Champions League, yes, go play there, but I prefer to see him stay in the Premier League.
All right. Chelsea finally have been told that Kai Havertz, who's only 21, will cost £90 million sterling. That figure has apparently given them cold feet. Should they shut up and pay up, or are Leverkusen overplaying their hand in the current climate?
You would think they're overplaying their hand in that Chelsea have so many different options at the moment that are they desperately in need of them? But this speculation has gone on for so long, you got to assume that they are, and that they are, Leverkusen are very much aware of how much money Chelsea have and are willing to spend this summer. So, yeah, these German clubs are obviously looking at the English clubs thinking, we see what your television rights deal is. And yeah, we know there's going to be a bit of a dip in revenue here, but we also look at your owners and think, yeah, we're not giving these guys on the cheap. We'll happily keep them for another season, let them improve again. He's 21, give him another year. And if you don't do it this year, Manchester United will do it next year, or Manchester City will do it next year.
Yeah.
So spend the money.
Or we'll keep him. And are they going to finish above fourth next year, finally? Frank Lampard's Chelsea?
Yes.
Where will they finish?
Third. Massive improvement.
Deal or no deal on the books for today. Thanks, Nathan.
Cheers, lads.